Welcome to Best of the Nest, a program produced by the television production students of Armstrong High School that takes a look at things from the student's point of view. I'm Olivia Kowalski of AHS-TV, and today we'll be taking a look at the possibility of eliminating snow makeup days by utilizing cyber classrooms as well as proposed new roads for emergency vehicles here at Armstrong High School. Let's take a look.
Hello, I'm Courtney Beers of AHS-TV. Today I'm joined by Mr. Kalmanos to talk about going cyber on snow days. Would you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'm Mike Kalmanos. I'm the academic principal here at the high school, and I'm responsible for all the academic goings on of the school, whether it's teacher performance, student performance, curriculum, those types of items.
Thank you. We're now going to take a closer look at going cyber on snow days.
Do you use Google Classroom for your work in some classes?
Most of our classes use Google Classroom nowadays, but usually I don't use it unless it's an actual computer class, such as communication systems.
In about every class I have, yes.
Yeah, I use it for almost all of my classes. We're typing a paper right now. We have to use Google Classroom to submit all of our things.
I do. Would it be beneficial for students to be able to do work online in an event of a cancellation instead of having to make up a day?
You know, I do like the idea of that. I hate having to come to school in the summer for extra days, so I would think it would be beneficial to just do some work online.
It'd be beneficial, but is anyone actually really going to do it if there's not really like a requirement for it?
I think it would be beneficial. It's just the fact that if they do it or not, because I think most kids wouldn't want to do it on a day that they don't have school.
It would be easier.
Given the opportunity, do you believe kids would take advantage of an online program?
What do you mean by advantage?
Like they just wouldn't do it, like they would say, oh, like my internet's down.
Okay, so yeah, I would see a lot of kids doing that actually, and that's a good rebuttal for our argument here. So I'd say it'd really just be whether they'd want to do it or not, and if they don't, they fail, get bad grades.
Thank you, Giro.
It'd be beneficial, but is anyone actually really going to do it if there's not really like a requirement for it?
I think it would be beneficial. It's just the fact that if they do it or not, because I think most kids wouldn't want to do it on a day that they don't have school.
It would be easier.
Now back to Courtney in the studio.
Thanks, Emily. I'm Courtney Beers of AHS-TV for those of you just joining us, and I'm joined today by Mr. Kalmanos to talk about going cyber on snow days. What exactly is Google Classroom?
Well, it's just like it says, it's a classroom on Google. The whole idea is it's a platform for teachers and students to submit items, assign items, get instant feedback, grade. It's an interactive session that eases communication between teachers and students at times.
How would the students without internet at home access Google Classroom?
That's an excellent question. There are plenty of places that have internet Wi-Fi for us. That we're working with the community right now to start having those conversations as to, for lack of a better term, cyber cafes. These are conversations that really haven't started yet, but it's something that we're starting to look into. We know many school districts are doing this out there, that if you don't have access at home, if you go buy a milkshake at McDonald's, maybe perhaps you could sit on their Wi-Fi for a certain amount of time and utilize their computer access.
Would students take advantage of having an online class?
We have a lot of students that are already taking advantage of having online classes. A lot of our independent studies are done online. Some of our regular classroom work is done online, maybe not wholly, but in some form or fashion. A lot of our teachers are currently using Google Classroom with their students and are having some success with that.
What is your opinion about going cyber on a snow day?
I'm kind of mixed on it at the time, because I do believe that the human interaction is very important in teaching, but at the same time I could see a benefit to students not losing the time, depending on the type of snow event that we have, not losing that time in the classroom. A lot of things that happen on a snow day, for example, we have to make them up. So if we had an instructional day where we went cyber, we wouldn't have to make up that day. If enough of our students did the job that they're supposed to do, it counts as a regular school day for us, so there's no makeup. So you can keep your spring break, or you can keep graduation on the same date.
What majority of the students here do you think would actually do homework or a project on a day off?
On a day off, well, I'd like to think that some students do work on weekends. They do work on homework, so I would look at this as just being an extension of what they already do on their own time without being physically in school.
Wouldn't some classes still get behind because not all teachers use Google Classroom?
I'm sure that would occur. I can't say that that wouldn't be a possibility, but somewhere along that line, if this is something that we did, every teacher would have to have some form of communication or some assignments for students to do on those cyber instructional days if we actually go that direction.
Should there be a limited number of cyber days allowed?
Well, I think the law when it was written, and I'm not 100% sure on how it was written exactly, but you still have to have makeup days built into your schedule, and these cyber days are used as an emergency more than anything. I believe that the program is piloted in a number of school districts across the state. There's 2 superintendents that I'm friends with that were part of those pilots, one in Conneaut School District and one in Elizabeth Forward. And their relationships with their students and what they're seeing is that these days have been very effective because that was just the culture that they have in their school districts. Those students just do it because they do so much work cyber related already.
Should there be a limit of the amount of work that is assigned on snow days?
I would assume if you do it, it's going to be, if we do it as a school district, it's going to count as a student day. So a limit, I'd say the limit would be whatever the teacher assigns that day. That's a tough question, especially when we have not yet formulated any plans on utilizing these days.
Do you think in the future there could be a possibility of going cyber on snow days?
I believe that exists. Last time I believe we did a survey, the percentage of students that actually have internet access at home was very high, surprisingly high to me. And a lot of times I'm starting to see with our students, if they don't have Wi-Fi or internet access at home, they still have their cell phones. And I see our students are constantly using their cell phones in school. So I want to believe that they can do some of the work still, regardless of whether it's at home or in school. A lot of students are still accessing it.
As the academic principal, do you think kids and teachers would benefit from having an online program on days off?
I don't think it would hurt anything. Again, most of this is, to me, based on convenience for people. I mean, when we call a snow day, it shuts a lot of operations down, including coming to school. I remember one stretch of time in my career where we missed an entire week of school. It was a pretty deep snowfall, and it took the towns a long time to dig out for us to be able to come back to school. So whenever these types of things happen, we want you guys to keep learning. We want the students to still experience something school related. I mean, yeah, I also want to go out and go sled riding and throw snowballs at people. But, at some point, you can only do it for so many hours.
Well, that's all for this segment of Best of the Nest. I'd like to thank Mr. Kalmanos for joining me today to talk about going cyber on snow days.
Thanks, Courtney. We're going to take a short commercial break and we'll be back.
2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trod in black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. 2 roads diverged in a wood. And I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference.
And we're back with more of AHS-TV's Best of the Nest. I'm Olivia Kivalowski of AHS-TV, and we're next going to be looking at proposed secondary roadway into our campus here at Armstrong High School. Take it away, Zach.
Hello, I'm Zach Dillingham of AHS-TV. Today I'm joined by Riley Kemmer and Austin Kupka to talk about potential new school road. Riley, would you please tell us a little about yourself to our viewers?
Yes, I'm Riley Kemmer. I go here to AHS, and I'm a senior in AHS.
And how about you, Austin?
I also go to AHS. I'm a senior. Woo woo! And and it's gonna be my birthday soon. I know this is irrelevant, but hey. But yeah, glad to be here.
Hey, thank you guys. Now we're now going to get some insight on how others feel about a new school road to Armstrong.
I'm here in the halls of AHS to talk to students and teachers about the potential new road. Our first interview is with a fellow teacher from Armstrong High School. Okay, so what are the possible outcomes of this new road?
Well, I haven't heard much about it other than that they're looking at putting in an emergency access road. I think the possible outcomes is it would be beneficial to have more than one way in and out of the school in the event of an emergency, like a need to evacuate, a need to get emergency personnel onto the campus, just to open up the bottleneck that might get created on just having one road.
It's probably a good idea because there's always a lot of traffic, especially in the afternoon.
The road itself that they're going to put in is not designed for everyday vehicular traffic. It's just going to be for emergency purposes. So there's going to be a gate on it, and it won't be open for, school buses or people to come in. It's just going to be if there was an emergency, we can open the gate and get emergency vehicles in and out.
Well, I think there should be another road in the school when you just have a 2-lane road going into anywhere, which is a mile long. That creates a number of problems which could occur, and another road would prevent a lot of those possible problems.
Well, this new road is going to be for the fire trucks. It's not going to be for buses. It's going to be fully for emergency services for shooters, active shooter drills and stuff.
Well, I think that's still a good idea. It'd be better if there was another road for all vehicles, but that's still a good idea to have another road.
We always get accidents at the end of the road, so it might be a good idea for another road.
Well, it's necessary for emergency purposes to exit for entrance of emergency vehicles and to get people out quick, because we only have one entrance and one exit here.
So in conclusion, there's not very many bad opinions about this road. There's mostly positive opinions about this road. So back to the studio.
Thanks, Christian. I'm Zach Dillingham of AHS-TV. For those of you just joining us, I am joined today by Riley Kemmer and Austin Kupka to discuss the possibility of another road to our school. So the first question I have is whether for you, Riley, it's how do you feel about the school road being added to?
I think a new school road would be an absolutely great idea. A, it allows the students to have another road out of the school so we're not stuck behind the buses. B, it creates less confusion and easier get out. And in case of emergency, it's another quick, easy access and it's not so combusted.
I think those are some good points. What do you think, Austin?
I agree with what Riley said. I also feel that if we had another road, I know after school, it is it's so long just to get out of the school. If we had another road, the flow would just be easier and everything. I highly would recommend that
I think it would be good too. Mm-hmm. Maybe there wouldn't be as many, wrecks or something, but
yeah.
So how do you feel about the school being able to maintain it?
Well, I feel like we would be able to manage, seeing as how we've managed with the road we have now.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be that hard. If it is, we could just get more staff or
More
something.
staff on it?
Yes.
Okay. What are your ideas on that?
I'd say pretty much the same thing. Say probably more traffic directors, maybe one or two. Another traffic director would help.
Yep.
Yeah, that would.
And pretty much same as before, like same way we do now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Now, Riley, do you think another road would prove to be helpful in this event of a school crisis or emergency? Like, so say if one road was blocked for some reason?
Yes, like I stated, why I think it would be a good idea is for that reason exactly. If anything were to happen, that's another access we could send people out.
Yeah.
Say roadblock, something happens at the school. Either way, no matter what occurs, it would be a way out.
Yeah. So. How about you? What do you think about that, Austin?
I think that would actually be like really smart. As Riley's saying, I don't want to seem like I'm just going with Riley,
Yeah.
but I do agree. Like honestly, it's a smart thing. It's kind of dumb that we don't have one. I'm sorry, but like seriously, it makes so much sense. If the one road's blocked off, go to the other. And if we don't, it's just what are we gonna do? That's the thing.
Now, what would you think like a problem with the school road would be, if any?
Maybe I think at first it would be harder to use. Like it would probably be like slower at first, but the more people use it and understand how it works and everything and the flow, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Riley?
I think one of the biggest problems that would occur with a new road would be deciding who gets to use this road. Is the original road for buses and the secondary road for cars? Or is it, okay, these buses and cars going this way get this road and buses and cars going this way go on the other road? The biggest problem I would see occurring with it is who goes where and like how would they set that?
Yeah, I think that would be a bigger problem too. Or maybe they could have it separated, like one goes towards Buchanan, while the other goes towards City.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. I didn't even think about that. That would make, that is a big problem I could see happening, honestly.
Yeah. So I know from experience that sometimes like people are forced to sit in traffic for like a really long time because so many people are forced to drive on a single road. So do you think it would cut back on the traffic on these roads?
I would think so. Definitely, because depending on what we would do, if we split off like half going this way, or like say, maybe one road's just for the buses and the other's just for the students. Known for a fact, I think the flow would just be so much faster.
Yeah.
What do you think on that?
Same for me.
The same thing?
Yeah, it definitely cut back time. You definitely would not be sitting there as long. Everyone could get out at the same time, and you wouldn't have to wait for buses and then cars. It would cut so much time.
I know, man. Especially if you have to go to work too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Just be quicker to just get to work.
So another factor to mention is that some sports like track and field, they run along this road, but the heavy amount of cars on the road sometimes risk their safety. So do you think these runners would be more safe if the school had two roads to dilute the traffic flow, Riley?
I don't know about that one because no matter if you're with a group or you're by yourself, running on a road is dangerous no matter what. I think it would cut back some of the risk, but it's still not going to be as dramatic as what it would seem because running along the road is dangerous no matter who you're with or what you're doing. So, yes, but slight, I would say.
Slight. How about you?
Well, I agree a little bit with Riley, but I would say, I could see it working. Say, maybe, if you just block off the one road, if you just block off both, the entrance and exit.
Yeah.
But if you block off a road, then you're going back to the whole problem of only having one road.
Yeah, but it depends. Because if it's later, with track, there's, barely anybody coming up to the school. So it won't be that kind of, blocked up and
I'd say it'd be considered.
I'm telling you. Yeah, I think it would. I think it would help, honestly.
Okay. So now, what if our school only had one road to enter and leave the school grounds from, but also had an emergency exit road? So we still use our main road, but then the other road's just for emergency vehicles, stuff like that.
I think that would actually be good. Depends on the whole thing. But in a sense, that kind of goes back on everything we were just talking about, because then it's just the same thing is going to happen. If that one road is just for emergency vehicles and nobody can leave through that, like the buses or the cars, what's the point? Like, I see the point, but at the same time, when's the chances of like a major emergency happening?
Yeah.
It's really slim.
Yeah.
It'd be a waste, honestly.
What do you think about
I
that?
completely agree with Austin. Like, if we did a road just for emergencies only, then that dilutes the whole thing we're talking about here. So because for the most part, if something does happen while we're at school, no one's really moving on those roads anyway. So if emergency vehicles had to come into the school, there wouldn't be a whole lot of cars on those two roads anyhow, because we would all be here already or gone, or vice versa, like it's either at night when no one's here.
Yeah. Okay. I think maybe like one problem could be like kids, it's like students, they'll end up driving on those emergency exit roads when they're not supposed to.
Yeah,
be.
they would drive
Yeah.
anyhow.
If that's a
Oh,
late rule.
that is a definite. I could picture that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Riley, do you have anything else that you'd like to add for the benefit of our viewers?
Not that I can really think of. I mean, I would definitely say a new road would be a great idea, and I also think that it should not be an emergency thing. Everyone should be able to use it. The only thing that we would figure out how to do is who gets to decide who goes on this road. That is the only thing I think.
How about you, Austin?
I'd pretty much agree with what Riley said. Honestly, like, same thing. It would definitely help. Just overall with the flow of leaving the school and everything, just the traffic, definitely help.
Yeah, I think it would
Overall.
especially help because the size of our school.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, with how many people.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
Sometimes the road up here feels like the hallways.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It really is. Just
It truly
jam-packed.
Yeah. Well, that's all for this segment of the Best of the Nest. I'd like to thank Riley Kemmer and Austin Kupka for being here and
Thank
give
you.
us feedback on the new school road.
From time to time, we'll be sharing some of the better student-produced projects by our very own right here on Best of the Nest, like right now. Students enrolled in Mr. Swanson's Film Studies and Filmmaking course, commonly referred to as TV2, created a short film as a class before beginning individual and group script writing projects that will compete to go into production later this semester. Here's that class project, After School Help.
So then you'll see after you factor out an x, these two right here will cancel. And then what's up, Lucas? Can't focus today?
I'm okay, I can focus.
Are you sure?
I'm okay.
Well, it seems like you're doing well, so we can stop for today if you want to.
That would probably be best. I've had a rough week.
Oh, really? You want to talk about it?
I'm okay, it's personal.
Okay. I'm here for you if you ever want to talk.
Thanks, Sam.
Hey Lucas, you ready?
Yeah, I was just finishing up.
Hi, I'm Samantha, Lucas's tutor.
Let's go, Lucas.
It was nice meeting you.
Yeah.
So, Stacy says you're making a lot of progress.
Her name is Samantha, and yeah, it's going great. She's a really great teacher. I've been having a hard time focusing lately.
It's not Stacy, is it?
No, but Samantha has been flirting with me. I've just had a hard time focusing lately. I've been thinking about Mom and Dad.
Yeah, I get that, but you just have to keep with it. It's what they'd want.
So you think you're starting to get it now?
I think so, yeah.
Hey Lucas,
You did?
Sam.
I'm here early. Why don't you go out to the car for a bit so I can talk to Samantha in private?
Yeah, just don't take too long.
It's about my brother Lucas.
Sure. Your brother's very intelligent.
That's actually what I came to talk to you about. He's a really smart kid. I just worry about him sometimes. I don't want him to have any distractions.
Well, what would be distracting him?
I don't know. He keeps saying it's because we lost our parents, but that was like 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. That must be really hard for the both of you.
Yeah, thanks. It's just, I worry about my brother more than myself sometimes. I don't want him to have any distractions.
I don't know what would be distracting him. I think he's usually pretty focused.
Maybe you're distracting.
How am I distracting to Lucas? I'm just trying to help him with his work.
I don't know. He said yesterday that you're really pretty and that you guys were flirting.
Oh, well, do you think that too?
I mean, kind of. I just think you're a little too old for my brother.
I'm not trying to flirt with Lucas. Actually, I was hoping I could get to know you more.
Sam, what are you doing?
Lucas.
Well, that's our show for this week. Best of the Nest is a production of students enrolled in television production courses at Armstrong High School. Join us again next time for a look at some of the unique things happening in and around Armstrong High School from the students' point of view. Until then, from our nest to yours, have a great week.